Remember, you can share thoughts with us on our social media platforms on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, and on Twitter, KUTV_Kenya. Now, Energy CS Charles Keter and his counterpart on the Petroleum and Mining Ministry today snubbed summons by the Senate's Energy Committee, where they were expected to answer questions regarding the hike in fuel prices that occurred last week. Our reporter George Mapesa has the details.
Escalated fuel prices in the country raised concern among Kenyans last week, with the many complaining about high cost of living occasioned by new prices troubling the nation's economy amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Energy CS Charles Keter and Petroleum and Mining Munyes were expected to appear before Senate Energy Committee today to shed more light on the rise of fuel prices in the country, but the two failed to turn up for the session.
The report that went to those cabinet secretaries is an invitation. We feel belittled, Mr. Speaker, not to mention, to add insult to injury, that the statement that I raised on the fuel prices in March is still unanswered to date. Even if we have no mandate under the Constitution to censure cabinet secretaries, let us start by censuring them now. Because we have a mandate under the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, to defend the people who elected us.
In his response to the summons, CS Keter said that the fuel prices did not fall under the purview of his ministry, as he passed the buck of responsibility to the petroleum docket. And CS Munyes, who is presently out of the country, on his part, requested to push the hearing by the Senate committee to Wednesday next week. Senators slammed the pair for skipping the hearing, with members of the committee proposing to take up the matter to the whole House next week.
There are two things which have arisen: the contempt by the cabinet secretaries, on which we need a resolution, and in order to get there, we must have some material. We must give some history of what happened before. And secondly, on the question of what the country is feeling now.
Wetangula rubbish claimed by Keter that the petroleum prices does not concern him, as he knows that the two ministries are related and the decision under the energy docket affect Munyes' petroleum and mining docket.
Ministers to be invited to come to the House to deal with a matter of national crisis, and none of them turns up, not even their PSS, not even a representative to come and tender an apology as to why they were not here. One minister, in fact, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Keter, a former colleague here, simply sent a message that this doesn't concern him. This is serious, Mr. Speaker.
On his part, Narok Senator Ledama Olakina blamed the parliament for its role in advancing legislation to pass on higher taxes for petroleum, even as his views were met by reprisal from fellow members of the committee.
These characters, Munyes and what is the other name? And Keter, are making a mockery of this House, Mr. Speaker. And for us to just fold and say, okay, you know, we clap for them, we discuss other issues in terms of how the media behaves, really makes us also unaccountable.
However, some members sought to absolve the role of the Senate in the passage of key tax legislation, insisting that the role falls squarely under the scope of its sister, the National Assembly.
Thank you so much, George Mapesa, for that report. Now, in a bit